We might need some Germex gloves. Just so everybody knows, wash your hands. Yeah, wash your hands.
There's a lot of people having issues, for sure.
Recent activities, it should show live.
It says we're live on that end.
On that end?
Mhm.
Oh, okay, it just doesn't show here.
Is there a delay?
I think it's 30.
Live now.
Oh,
It's 30 seconds.
we're all set. Thank you. We're good. You got it.
You want to play it just to make sure? It says.
Oh, there we go.
Hi there.
Hey, Randy.
Oh,
Welcome.
I'm at the other building, knocking on the door, ringing the bell.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
you're just fine.
All right. Thanks so much.
We're just waiting. Mr. Cullis is on his way.
Okay.
And Ron Campbell couldn't be here tonight. He had a family emergency.
She left. Yes. Resigned.
I mean, I know, but we're gonna just wait for this talk.
I know.
Sorry, Randy. I just got your message. Now I didn't recognize the number. I apologize.
Just trying to figure out how to find you guys.
My first meeting here, I walked around the halls for 20 minutes past the start. Couldn't find it. And nobody knew where anybody I asked didn't know where it's.
I'll go ahead and open the meeting at 7:03. We will start with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So, roll call, please.
Turpinin,
Present.
McCanny,
Here.
Shield,
Here.
DeSessa,
Here.
Coley,
Here.
Murphy,
Here.
Cullis.
Yes. Let me start out by apologizing for being late and inform you that in regards to the COVID-19 or coronavirus, we are being communicated even down at this level, both from the county, the state, and our congressman's office, so we're getting federal information down. I was just on a call that they've set up. They called earlier today and they have it set up so that they're calling our cell phones directly, so we don't have to worry about missing messages and so forth. And all the information that they're getting is trickling down, and from the different agencies, it all seems to be pretty much everybody's on the same page. I know that both Chief McGee and Jeremy Lentz from NACFA for the township, Jeremy Watson, I have a hard time working with both you guys. Jeremy Lentz from NACFA and Steve McGee, they have also met with the county, so the first responders are on top of this, and we're getting communication from everybody on this. And as I hear things that are substantial, we will be putting them out there. The village manager, Jerry Walker, and I are communicating as well, keeping all of it there. So the good news is the system's all been set up and the communication's there. That being said, there have been many questions. I've had several people ask me if I was okay, if I'm upset. I seem to be getting emotional lately. That's not the problem. I've been to the doctor, to specialists. I have to get this piece of paper out because I can't remember the doggone thing. I go in for more testing on Tuesday, but the fear is that I have adductor symphonic dysplasia, I think is how it's said. What it is, in a nutshell, is the vocal cords, when you speak, have a tendency to open and vibrate, which is what makes the sound come out, something that Thomas Edison reproduced in recorders. And in my case, it's spasm. There are spasms that cause this hesitation in my voice. So, although I am a pretty soft-hearted person and generally not as much as you may think listening to me of late. So, just so that you understand that is what's going on, and as I know more, and I'll keep people informed. But I've had quite a few people reach out to me in the past couple of months wanting to know if I was okay, and asking people that know me, he seems to be upset a lot, and it's not that, it's just this voice that I'm struggling with. That being said, if we can move on to D, the approval of the minutes, both for January 9th and for February 13th. There are two sets of minutes on there because our meeting of February 13th had to be called for a lack of quorum. So if you can look at those minutes. If there are any additions or deletions.
I move to approve the minutes.
Support.
It is moved by Commissioner Turpinning and support by, I almost said trustee, Councilman Shield, to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda approval. Chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
It's Councilman Shield, and I think this,
Disessa.
help me again, DeSessa.
Disessa.
Yes. Okay. With a D? DeSessa. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We don't have any presentations at this point. Just so you know, I was contacted by Ron Campbell, our member at large. He's not able to be with us tonight. He had a family emergency. So we will go from the presentation to the statement of purpose, excuse me. And no, I don't have the coronavirus. I had a procedure with the cameras down my nose, and it was like an instant cold. My nose won't stop, and my throat hurts, and all that fun stuff. So anyway, statement of purpose. Mr. McCanny, will you read that for us?
The mission of the Holly Historic District Commission is to safeguard the heritage of the village of Holly by preserving the historic districts in the village that reflect elements of the village's history, architecture, archaeology, engineering, or culture. The goal of the Commission's work is to stabilize and improve the property values in historic districts and the surrounding areas, foster civic beauty, strengthen the local economy, and promote the use of historic districts for the education, pleasure, and welfare of the citizens of Holly.
Okay, at this time, we will open the meeting to public comment. Anyone wishing public comment? None appearing. We will move to old business, which is the HDC district boundaries. At this point, you're aware of the fact that Nicole Edwards has stepped down from the committee under a controversy that seems to be hanging over the village in regards to nepotism. If someone is serving as a councilman, and as we know, Chris Rankin's a councilman, then a family member, wife, spouse, so on, can't be appointed to commissions. Even though her appointment to the HDC was before they were married, she also had an appointment to the, help me out,
Zoning Board of Appeals.
Zoning Board of Appeals, and she chose under the light of controversy to step down from both. So we have a new member with us this evening, Mr. Murphy. Welcome to the club.
Thank you.
Aboard.
And my recommendation would be that we table the HDC district boundaries, seeing as she has the majority of that information. She had been kind of handling that one. We're going to need to sit down with her and gather that. I was hoping she was going to be here this evening. Anyone have any comments on that idea?
I move to table.
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Turpinning, support by Councilman Shield, to table HDC district boundaries till our next meeting. Any further discussion?
Would it be cool us to make a motion to have, to ask Nicole to be here to go over that and maybe ask her to hand over the information?
We can certainly do that. I don't know that we need to make a motion, because even with a motion, we couldn't force her to do that. So I don't think the motion is necessary, but we will certainly invite her to do that, and we'll meet with her. Any other comments? None appearing. All in favor of tabling the HDC district boundaries till the next meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now, we move into new business. Consideration for certificate of appropriateness from RHL Group, 115 Battle Alley, new windows. Mr. Redmond, you're up. If you want to come to the mic, start by giving us your name and address for the
Yep.
record.
Randy Redmond, 115 Battle Alley.
And you're here on behalf of?
RHL Group
Okay.
to, I guess, get approval for windows.
All right. So go ahead and make your presentation.
Oh, I didn't realize I have to make a presentation. So I think everyone has copies of what's there. We've had a lot of difficulty trying to find vendors in Holly for windows. So I think I've gone through 8 or 10. Ron Campbell did come out and do a study on our little building. So I'm right across from the Holly Hotel. And to restore, I guess, the old windows and try to do that. And it was very informative, but also very, very expensive. So we got different quotes from multiple different vendors, and the quote that you have in front of you there is from Oxbow Windows. They have done windows for other people in town, and seem to be a pretty reputable company. I guess they make the windows right down off M59 or wherever they're based down there. And so we're proposing to put in some new windows on the upstairs part of the building. The windows are all deteriorated, kind of falling apart. There's 3 or 4 windows in the back that have broken out. There's not even a window. The sills are all falling apart. It's obviously an older building. So I think what you have there is a copy of the quote that they gave to us, and then a little information on that company. So we've talked to several vendors, and they seem to be the one that seems to be the most reasonable and would be able to put in the windows for us.
And that was one of them that was recommended by Mr. Campbell?
No. So the challenge that we had with Holly was there wasn't any significant recommendations on windows. So as a small business owner, we've had a lot of trouble. We've spent 6 months getting to this point. It's been a debacle. So I understand that there were other people in the community that came in with a vendor and asked for approval. You guys denied that, and that vendor was going to do our windows. So I'm glad that I didn't go to that process. So there's no real clear understanding of what you guys want on these old buildings, and how to approach it. And so Ron was good because he at least showed us from a historic standpoint some of the things that they can do to fix the windows. But it was expensive. His quote was like between $8,500 and $12,000 to do 6 windows. My concern is when you redo those old windows, I don't think you're going to have the same level of insulation and that kind of stuff, right, in terms of just having function use in terms of the windows. I understand we want to keep the integrity, so I get that. So I walked around, looked at every single building in town. Of course, we've got multiple different things going on, as you guys know, in Holly. But then this vendor I chose because he did other windows in town for somebody else.
Yeah, the recommendation for this company actually came from me.
Right.
This was a company that I used for the windows on our house. This is the same company that Bob Hoffman used for the buildings downtown that he rehabbed. And these windows, I don't see it written on any here, but if I'm not mistaken, these are windows that Oxbow Window handles, and they're made by a company called Lincoln.
Correct. Yeah, and I've got information on Lincoln too, if you guys
Yep.
need that.
And they are wood windows, and they're able to make them with the same lights in them that we have here, and they've been approved for several other buildings in town for these. Any questions for Mr. Redmond?
So this proposal is replace all the windows?
On the upper part of the building, correct. Yeah, I'm going to leave the down part for now.
So there's an interesting observation that I made, and you have the picture right on the front page.
Yep.
The window on the left has multiple lights, and the window on the right has none. Do we have an idea of which is an original version versus which one got replaced sometime
Oh.
back over the years? Or do we think the glass
I
broke
think-
on the top?
I think the one on the left is the original. The one on the right is falling apart.
That glass probably broke and got
Correct.
replaced?
Yeah, correct.
So is your intent to do all the windows with the 4 lights on the top?
We can. What did he put in the proposal? Let's
Well,
see.
your proposal shows some of each, and that's why I was questioning.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, we can put in whatever you guys want, right? I don't think it matters to us.
I think one of the jobs this commission has is to protect architectural integrity.
Yep.
This is one of those times where we have an opportunity to bring it back to the full spectrum
I'm almost thinking
that was there before.
it almost looks like because this one right here matches this one, it almost was this one, this way as well. So I'm
That's what I
thinking-
think. What probably happened was the glass broke, and it's easier to replace it this way, somewhere over the
so
years.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's probably all 3 were.
But now, you're looking at replacing 4?
Well, there's 1, 2, 3 there in that front picture, and then there's 1, 2, 3 in the back. So there's 6 total. The ones in the back are all broke out. They're not original glass.
Do
And
we
I'm
have a
not so
picture?
sure the glass on the front of the building, when you look at that, is original either. It's got original molding if you look at it, I think. Again, I don't have the history on the building, how far back it went. But the ones in the back don't have the whatever those things are called there on the top, George, you're talking about.
Those are lights.
Okay, yeah, the windows in the back don't even have that. So my guess is they were replaced at a different time.
Yeah, those are just vertical lights. They're for, you'll see some windows, if you go down Maple Street, there's a house on the south side that has triple lights, 3 lights in their window.
They're called lights?
Yeah, L-I-T-E. They just
Oh, okay.
call them lights.
I didn't know that.
Usually when you get the ones that are crossed, they call those mullions. I wasn't around when all that stuff was named. I just know what I hear the industry people refer to them. Is there a photograph of the back of the building or no?
I don't think so.
Okay. That way I'm not looking for a ghost.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and actually, if you look at the quote, so on the back part of the, let's see, on page of the quote, page 3 and 4, if you look at the little picture, he doesn't show those lights in the window. So if, on page 2 of the quote, you'll see the window, the picture of the window shows the lights.
Yep.
And then on the back ones, you can see that it doesn't.
Well, I think what he did was price them based on which windows had lights and which didn't.
Correct. Yep.
But I think from an architectural standpoint, the opportunity to bring it back to its original.
Yeah, and I don't know, I don't have pictures on the back of the building to know if it was like that or not. I have no idea.
It's likely the back windows didn't match the front ones anyway. 'cause
No, they were
often
usually
the ones
in-
on the front were fancier than the back.
That's,
so.
the back.
that's why I asked if there was a picture, because I didn't know what's up
Yeah,
for the
I
current.
don't know. But I see what you're saying, that makes sense.
Then on the back windows, would you match the new front windows?
Yeah, if you
With the
guys
same-
want that,
So-
that's fine, if that's a good look.
And my question is on the survey, it mentioned that they thought that some of the windows could be repaired, but
Yeah, so I got that from Ron Campbell. So he gave. It was funny because I asked, well, who would do the work? So they gave us a list of like 6 different vendors or something. Then he gave like an average cost. It was between $8,500 and $12,000 to redo the windows. My concern is, and he said, you redo those windows and that they're going to be just as efficient as a brand new window. I have a really hard time understanding that concept. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a window guy. But if I'm putting an
Well,
office up there,
I think that comes from the fact that wooden glass is wooden glass, whether it's old wooden glass or new wooden glass.
I guess, I don't
think
know.
That's, that's where that statement comes from.
So the one window on the right there in the picture, that's not, there's no way they can restore it. It's broke and,
oh, yeah.
the one on the left maybe, but it's got a big crack in it. And then that small one on the left, that one is the only one that might be restorable. But they also said in order to do that there would be it would take 2 to 3 months to do it or something, which seemed kind of silly to me. So I'm trying to just get some new windows in my building. It's taken me 6 months to get to this point. And all I want to do is just to make it look good so everybody's happy with that and move on to my next thing that I need to do.
Are there any other questions?
Is the materials, are all the frames could be wood then? Or-
Yeah. So they're going to be just like the frames that are on Hoffman's building. So it's the
Okay.
same guy that did Bob Hoffman's, all the windows in Hoffman's. So if you walk by, you can see it.
And
Seems
as
like there's a precedent there that's okay then.
it's, so I say, it's worked for other buildings in the village.
This guy get on with his business.
On Bob Hoffman's building,
I'm sorry,
what materials are used on Hoffman's building?
these same windows.
Is it wood, is it,
No,
Wood.
they're all wood. That's one of the reasons why you go with Oxbow, because they're the ones that have these available to us. And he's done, Mr. Watson,
Yes, sir.
I know he's done the building at 101. Did he also do the building on Battle Alley?
Yes.
He did. I don't know if those windows are the same.
That's why I can't remember. I don't remember those coming before the board. I know the ones on 101.
It's the same material. So if you go
And the
look at
truth
them.
be known, if we had historical pictures, I find it hard to believe that the 2 windows on the main level of your building
Yeah.
are original.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I'm sure they're not.
Yeah.
I'm sure those were modified over the years, but I think personally, gaining the 4 light windows on the top brings it back into continuity as opposed to the picture we're looking at here. And,
yeah, I kinda feel the same.
and I
way
think
with
the
what
fact that
happened.
we've approved it for other buildings, I think the path for us is clear.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
Well, it says-
I agree with the George on that, with having all 3 front windows, even that small window on the side facing
Yeah.
Battle Alley. Yeah, having them all,
It puts it back into a continuity.
have them all the same.
Mr. Chair, I believe the submittal here, line 3 and line 4 on page 3 is, if I'm not mistaken, is the side and rear windows. Page 2 will show the two large windows that he has submitted on his picture of the survey.
Yeah.
And then the window there on the left, the smaller window there. So what he has submitted here is the windows that are not on the front facade of the building will not have the lights. I think another note that we should look at is that the windows are gonna come in plain wood. So if you look at the bottom of the quote here, it says there's an option to have the exterior of the windows painted. So are we going to paint the windows in what color?
Yeah, so the same color that's on the building today, which is the forest green.
So, just to make it clear, we don't have jurisdiction over color as long as they're painted. So that's.
But they do have to be painted for International Property Maintenance Code.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I said they have to be
Yeah.
painted, but we don't have jurisdiction
Yeah.
over color.
I mean, most, right, buildings, as we've looked around town, don't, because we have to do the wood, we have got to paint. So now I've got to maintain those.
Right.
There are a lot better windows, right, that I can put
Absolutely.
in that will give me the ability to have maintenance-free. They can be the same color, look exactly the way you guys want it, but you're forcing me to do wood. So when you do that now as a business
Just for the
owner,
record, we're not forcing you. The Secretary of the Interior
right.
sets the
But there's
standards.
other windows we all know, right, in town that don't have wood windows. We know that, right? So
Not
as
if
you,
they came, not if they came before this board. If they were
Understood.
put in before this board existed, you could be correct.
right.
I can't speak for that.
But for us as a business, right, now I've got to maintain those. So the
is
answer
correct.
is we would paint them that same color green, forest green, whatever's on the building currently. That would not be till the spring because I'm not getting up there and painting those right now.
And we allow that too.
And then also, are you talking about the building or the window that is painted by the mural as well?
No, no, so just the front and then the back part,
The front and the very back?
correct. Yep,
All right, I just
Yep.
wanted
yep, that's a good question.
to, I was just, it does like, in my mind, I was thinking that your
You have a
windows are
question?
Yeah.
all.
Yeah.
Yes, I do have a comment.
Mr. McCaney.
So Windows number 201, 202, and 203 came back as good condition and restoration is recommended. And if you look at the picture, or the back of the window assessment has a legend of where these windows are at on the structure. And if you flip back to the front, you can't see one of them, but in the front, the three windows with the light, with the single light on the bottom, are all in good condition, recommended for restoration.
Oh, hang on. I guess I need to stop you there because I'm going to come back to you. So as I'm looking at this, Randy, can you just come here for a second?
Yeah,
Approach this. I'll try to make this clear for the tape. When I look at this picture, this is looking down Battle Alley.
Yeah.
Is there a window there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So, to what Mr. Watson said, there are actually 4 windows on the front of the building.
And 8 in total. He's only presenting us with 6 as replacements, correct?
yeah, George, is there a window there? I'm trying to think, so when I go up and look at that.
Well, the picture shows that there
There's
is.
one that faces Battle Alley.
The assessment
That's-
shows 8.
Yeah, that's
There's-
the only one that's there.
But which ones are you because if you're calling for 6 and there's 8,
Replacing the front 2 and the side 1 that you can see on the picture, so that's 3.
so you're not replacing this one. Are you replacing the one over this door?
That's what I just asked.
Yeah,
by the front
yeah, there
one.
should be. Yeah, did he miss that? There should be another window there then. Well, no, look, if you look at the quote, is there
There-
2?
that's
Because they're
one-
the same size. Is there 2 or only 1?
It says 2 and 1 on the quote,
Yeah. Anyways,
but the building
all
appears
the
to have
windows upstairs need to be replaced.
So
So
total.
there's 3 in the back, there's 2, and a really big one, 3. And then I thought 3 in the front, but maybe there's 4 in the front.
There is 4, but
There's
if you look
4.
at this window, it's very clear.
Okay.
If you look,
There's 4.
here, come here.
Well, look at this back page.
Yeah.
This is the only diagram in the package.
Back page of this.
So that's the side.
It shows you.
Right.
Part of the problem is we have 4 different sets of paper to look at.
Yeah. I don't know what.
I'm getting there.
Nope.
1, 2, 3. He's saying there's a side one. There's 4.
So this is the assessment.
Well, yeah, we had to. Yeah, I
Oh.
told them.
That's where they're numbered.
No,
That's the
no, I told
legend.
them all of them. Yeah,
So
he missed one.
this one, and this one.
He
are
missed
good
one in the
condition
quote.
and recommended for
Missed 2.
restoration. This one needs to be replaced. That one needs to be replaced. This one, and this one need to be replaced.
Okay.
And And there is a window here, and that's the one that's in the picture
So
showing
there's
down
probably
the alley.
seven windows.
No, there's 8. He's got them actually labeled right here if you want to come up and take a look.
We're not replacing the one on the mural.
Not the one on the mural.
Right.
is
That's the one
staying
I-
where it is.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
he
without that one, there are 7.
7.
Correct.
205 will not be replaced.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
That's the one I just asked about.
yeah, you asked about that. That's been spray painted over, so I
Yeah.
mean.
Yep. Okay.
you can
What's
even
the R
know.
value of spray paint? Does anybody know what R value is?
I don't know.
No.
So, but then hold on.
So 7, correct.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, so actually my guy's missing one. You're right about that, the side
No.
one.
If you follow this page, he's got 2, 4,
Yeah.
6, 7.
Oh, he does, okay. Well, he's got all 7 on there then.
Yeah, the 2 is on the next, you don't see it on this because it carries over to the top line
Oh,
of the
yeah,
next page.
yep, I see that. Yep, so
That's
there's
where
the
we're
7.
lost.
Very good.
Yeah, me too, thank you.
Yep.
What's it, my problem was I'm shifting between 3 different sets of papers to look at.
Yeah, yeah.
To keep everything going.
Yep.
Any further discussion?
I guess I have none.
Okay. Anyone else?
That I can think of.
The only thing I have is the recommendation for restoration. I'm not happy about that. And then also, we wanted to move to the 4 lights up and 1 light down, but that isn't clear, and we'll have to,
That would have to be part of our,
part of the motion or whatever.
yeah.
So what are you?
Well, actually,
You're not happy with what?
Well, the recommendation from the historical architect for Oakland County says that 201, 202, and 203 should be restored.
that's these 3 here.
Yeah, 2 small ones and 1
Yeah.
large one.
But the proposal is to
Guns.
replace them all. So,
Uniformity also you have to look at.
Doesn't it say,
Uniformity.
doesn't it say restoration is recommended?
Yes,
I'm looking at page 3 of the Ron Campbell stuff. It says recommendation is recommended.
and that's what I think, that's what he's making reference to.
that's just my observation. I think they should be restored, but that's my personal opinion.
This is what restoration is.
Yeah. But we're not following that recommendation.
but what he-
The recommendation is they're gonna remove them and replace them.
What Mike is advocating for is to approve the replacement of 4 of the windows and the restoration of 3. Am I correct?
Yes.
Which follows
That
the
would be mine.
guidelines set forth by the window survey on page 2.
And page 2 is of this,
Yeah.
the survey. I'm just trying to mull that over.
That's why we're here. To mull it over.
Of course, I got a thick brain anyway.
So just to make clear that we're not, this is, so Secretary of Interior Standards for Rehabilitation number 6 says deteriorated historical features will be repaired rather than replaced, where the severity of deterioration requires replacement of distinctive feature A new feature will match the old design color texture where possible and materials. Replacement of missing features will be substantiated by documentary and physical evidence.
So the estimated cost range of $8,800 to $12,000 is for all of the windows. It says here the estimate per window is between $1,100 and $1,500, which pertains to those 3 windows.
I don't know if the quote, the other
Does not
quote.
include the storm.
Yeah, it doesn't include storm windows.
Oh, that's I was reading, there's a recommendation for interior storms as
Yeah.
well.
Right, which adds to the cost significantly.
Well, I certainly understand the recommendation from Mr. Campbell, and I certainly understand the Secretary of the Interior's intent. I guess my concern is that what we've already allowed in this town, at some point you have to worry about, we let one person do this and then we want the other person to do that. This would be at a point that if you make a decision tonight that restoration of the 3 is where we're gonna go, replacement of the other 4 is acceptable, then you have to understand you're gonna hardline that from here on out, because you certainly can't go back and forth. At this point, I'm looking at the other buildings that we've approved. That would be 101, Avia's, the coffee shop, which we just did a couple of months ago. I'm looking at you to help me. Who am I missing?
There's a few window replacements. Also,
Those are the ones that-
Stillwell, was Stillwell one of them? Jen? No.
I don't, that was a door. That was a door. And the Moose Lodge did an overhang, they didn't do any windows, but the ones I remember are 101 Avia's. Blackthorn goes way back, they did theirs. So the history of this commission has been to allow this. Now, that doesn't mean you can't change your direction, but you have to understand where you're coming from and where that would force you to go. And I say that because we don't need unnecessary lawsuits. And if you start flip-flopping, that's where you end up going.
Well, that was my original thought too. However, with 204 being replaced, are we going to get a consistent look on the south side of the building with 203 and 204?
That's the concern.
I think
Well, I don't think this commission should be held hostage by lawsuits.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I don't think the Secretary of Interior gives a bunch of beans about lawsuits. We're here to protect the heritage and historical buildings in the property area. Buildings like this go away inch by inch.
Mm-hmm.
That's my position.
Okay,
Thank you.
so what is the wish of this board?
We don't have to be unanimous in the
No,
whole,
No, you don't.
in the whole thing.
No.
We just need somebody to make a motion.
No, but that's what I'm saying, in order to move forward, if all discussion is done, then we need somebody to make a motion to go forward.
So we've already agreed there'll be uniformity across.
He's actually got it in his proposal.
Right.
He's proposing 4 windows for the front of the building,
That are all the
all
same.
with the 4-light top window. So that's already here.
And are any of those 4 the 3? I don't have a thing from the 3 you're concerned with.
3 of them are,
3 of them.
3 of the 4 are the 3 that he's referring to.
And are
Do you
3
have
of
a
those
package?
3 missing the lights?
No,
One
No.
is. One is.
One is the.
No.
One of them is missing the
not,
light.
no, not the 3.
The front side.
No,
And then this is the.
the,
Yeah,
th-
it's-
the
it's-
3
Gotcha.
that can be repaired all have the lights. That's this one and
This
these
one.
2.
the alley.
Right, the
3
other one on
of-
the right.
The other one on the right doesn't.
But this one is called in his report to be replaced.
This is their positions, so that one's.
Right,
not
so then
touched.
uniformity.
That one and the one on the
These are
back.
gonna be replaced,
So the uniformity on the front facade will not match.
Which I think is great.
That's my
These
concern.
here,
Well,
Because
you're
you'll have
very-
one new window and 3 old.
Well, it would match more than that does, because it'll still have 4 lights. Whether you'll be able to tell who's new and who old is another story.
Just wanna know.
I'm waiting for either somebody to make a motion or for more discussion.
Being a business owner, I'll make the motion.
If only it were that easy.
I know, it's not that easy, George, sorry.
Talk about setting a new precedent.
What was the
Yeah,
cost difference
you make
per
so
window to replace versus restore?
If you look on here, each window is $619, for example, on the larger one. And repair was estimated between 1,115,
15.
not including interior
I'm
storms.
assuming this one's gonna be that
So
one.
that would be a restore.
These must be the back ones with different sizes.
Well, I know somewhere in all this historical stuff, there's cost considerations to the owners, right? If something's exceedingly high, we grant some relief. I don't know what that number is, but seems to me double might be kinda high. I don't disagree with you, Mike, I'd like to see it restored, but if it's double the cost, I mean, I gotta put a new roof on my house one of these days. I'm not sure I'm gonna spend $150,000 to do that on a house I didn't pay that much for.
Yeah.
Okay, so, I'm
And
sympathetic.
you probably have the most expensive roof in the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure,
That's fine.
without a doubt. So, I'm sympathetic to the, how long this is taking you, because I'm sure you'd like to just get this done and move
Yeah.
on, and your intentions are
Absolutely.
to improve the look of that whole area, so, I mean, I think it's a consideration, the cost is,
Are you
If it-
working up to a motion?
well, if it's double the cost, I don't know, I don't, if the new windows are gonna look just like these that are currently there, I don't have as much heartburn with it. So, I guess I move to let him replace those.
Okay, we do need, Mike, do you have that sheet where, if you can get that to Mr. Coley. We need to follow Secretary of Interior's guidelines in our motion. So you would have to pick,
So,
Ah,
you're probably gonna be, this is one of the most common that is used for
Yep.
justification.
why you guys gotta make this so hard?
It's not, this is Secretary of Interior's guy.
we're not.
This is defend against the lawsuits that they threaten us with.
Uh-huh.
So as long as you stay in there, we're good.
Okay, so what do I do? Say pursuant to
Yeah, you just call up the number.
number 9 and the Secretary of Interior's standards for rehabilitation, I move we accept his proposal.
There you go.
There we go.
I need
With
some,
additions, with making sure there's 4 lights on all
Well-
windows.
his proposal dictates that, and he said as per his proposal.
Okay.
So we're there. We have a motion, is there support?
Support.
So the motion is by Commissioner Cooley, support by Commissioner Turpin.
Mr. Chair, just to be clear, I think Mr. McKinney made up a great point. Are we requiring, because per the proposal he has submitted in front of us, he's got 3 that are not with the lights and 4 that are. Is the commission asking for all 7 windows to have the lights, or are we asking for what is in the proposal here? Just so I'm clear when I go to do the inspection, that I'm getting the,
I don't know about anybody else, the biggest question for me is, I can't see those back 3. As Mr. Coley mentioned, typically the back 3 don't have the fancy that the front do, and you don't know whether they did or not. Would you be comfortable if we said, if they're there, then to follow it? Otherwise, My guess is, knowing Mr. Burmeister, first name Todd,
Yep,
Todd, knowing Todd, he copied the windows that were there.
correct.
That's typically what he does. So I'm comfortable with the proposal as written.
The proposal is written, thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else wants to chime in? Especially Mr. Coley, it's your motion.
I'm good.
You're good. So we'll move forward with the motion as made. Secretary of Interior number
9.
9.
Which reads as?
Your support.
You want it
And
read
it's
into the
support by
record or
Mr.
no?
Turpin. No, we're good. Number
Okay,
9.
we're
is
good.
good.
Roll call.
Do you want it read before you vote?
Yes.
Okay, if you would read it, Mr. McCain.
All right, Secretary of Interior's and Standards for Rehabilitation. Number 9 says new additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction will not destroy historic materials, features, and special relationships that characterize a property. The new work shall be differentiated from the old and will be compatible with the historic materials, features, size, scale, and proportion, and massing to protect the integrity of the property and its environment.
So to clarify for you what that means, and so that you understand, they're not gonna be taking any extra brick out, they're not gonna be covering anything on the top or around the windows. When they're done, it'll look just like it does now, except there'll be new windows. Okay?
Right.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Nope.
Oh, you were going to that microphone, I thought you were getting
I was
ready.
just seeing if you wanted a roll call vote.
That's what I was gonna do as soon as I made sure I had no more communication. We're all good?
Good.
Roll call vote, please.
Murphy,
Aye.
Coley,
Aye.
Shield,
Yes.
Turpinin,
Support.
McCanning,
No.
DeSessa,
Yes.
Cullis.
Yes. Motion carries 6-1. We will move on to, Mr.
Thank you.
You are all set to go.
All right, thank you very much, guys.
We'll move on to commission and staff comments. I'll start with the staff because I always seem to forget them, so Mr. Watson?
I have nothing to report at this time, thank you.
Ms. Golden?
None at this time.
I'm just gonna come right down the line. Mr. Murphy?
None at this
You're
time.
new, you're first.
I got nothing.
Okay. Mr. Turpinning?
None at this time.
Councilman Shield?
Nothing. Good report, I guess.
I'll go back down the other end. Commissioner Coley? Cooley?
Is this an appropriate time to ask a question about my roof?
Sure.
I've got some leaks that I have to have addressed, so I'm gonna probably have all the tiles removed off of at least one side of the house soon. Replaced with light tiles where I can. So, you guys may see some more going on up there. I was going to have a quote to have the whole roof replaced with some like material and compare that to shingles, and it happened to the garage at some point, the carriage house, all the shingles got, the clay tiles were gone, so we don't have those anymore. So I'm going to do my best to honor the integrity of that old roof.
Have you
but-
talked to people that do clay tiles?
Yes, I have.
Anybody, have you talked to Bob
Detroit
Hillman?
Cornice. I talked to Detroit Cornice. I have a guy that's currently in Florida doing some clay tile work who's going to be up here in a couple months. So
You might want to reach out to Robert Hillman. He's done some repair down in the Bloomfield area on
Okay.
those roofs. He's local here in town.
Robert Hillman.
Yep,
Okay.
Hillman Roofing. I only because I know he's done some of that work in Bloomfield lately.
Yeah, I know back in 2000 there was a quote done to repair that roof and add a gutter system, and it was almost $100,000. I will not be doing that.
I understand.
Yeah, I understand.
I've had to deal with people in this town being upset that we haven't done our house faster.
Mm.
And one of the first bids we got when we moved in was what would it cost just to paint it as is. And the cost was over $50,000. And it included a lot of repair work. But there was a caveat that said, once you start showing up the foundation, they wouldn't guarantee against cracking and other problems. So we've had to go the long way around and come
Mhm.
back and get all the repair work done first. So I completely understand where you're at. Mr. DeSessa? I'm sorry, that was it for you, Dave?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nothing. I think I saw you in attendance at the Slotkin well water event down there at the fairgrounds, and I thought that was interesting, just as an FYI.
Yeah, it was, I thought what was most interesting was the fact that you probably don't know this, she had called this meeting and reserved a room in the building north of where we were, and the response was so good that she outgrew that building and had to move down to the bigger building. There were over 250 people there.
I didn't know that.
And that's the last one of those kind of meetings you'll see for
Yeah.
the foreseeable future. Everything's being canceled.
Yeah. And that's all.
Commissioner McCanny.
I have nothing. Be safe. Wash your hands.
Yeah. Okay. And, I have nothing. I made my announcements when I first came in. So I think we're good. We will look at adjourning this meeting at 7:49.